keep talking. Just
okay. You want me to do the sound check?
Well, it's a little too early.
Oh no, this isn't too early. Live. Yeah, checkmate King 2. This is White Rook over.
We got you. We got you.
Eddie's too young to know that reference.
Went way over my head.
So, okay, folks.
Eddie, that was
everybody ready?
Show from when we old guys were a kid. That's where that came from.
Is everyone ready here? We're going to count it in.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, and welcome into Drone Nation for April 22nd, 2024, the Earth Day Avata 2 Special Holiday Edition. What a title there. Now, a couple show notes right off the bat here. DeMarco Moore, he's on assignment tonight, so he will not be part of the show. But Johnnie DroneFlyer is filling his big shoes tonight on the show. And as you can see already, our special guest tonight is, Mr. Eddie Nunez, from the Eddie Nunez channel here. Back, he's got a lot to talk about tonight. He's purchased the highest 2 devices out in the market right now. We're going to take a deep dive into all that. So, and I did say Happy Earth Day. I remember when I was a kid, I think I was 10 years old, they invented Earth Day, and we went out and planted like trees that day or whatever, like back in the hippy dippy days of like 1970. And speaking of the old 70s, I want to give a shout out to our guest host tonight, Johnnie DroneFlyer, who attended his 50th high school reunion over the weekend, and reportedly he was voted homecoming king and most likely to succeed. Before the night was over.
Well, I was vice president of the class, so no. I just had to sit back like a normal vice president and do nothing. So hey, that was the cool part about it.
So you had a good time, Johnny?
I did. It was great. I made a lot of friends. We had I think almost 80 classmates come, and of course we had like about 140 people. So we had 30 classmates that was deceased. So yeah, it was a great time though.
Yeah, fortunately, when you get to be about our age, not everybody's still around for these reunions.
Yeah.
But it's the bad part about life. So,
but it was fun night.
Good. So, and Eddie, you've recently gotten back from your trip to the Dominican Republic. Anybody is wondering why Eddie wasn't at the Florida drone meetup, whatever, he was enjoying the warm, sunny weather down in the Dominican Republic, weren't you?
Yeah, it was. It's always a fantastic time when I go down there. The South Florida drone meetup, one day I'll make it over there, but it always kind of like conflicts with my Easter break to the Dominican Republic with the family. But
understood.
Yeah, it was gorgeous over there. It rained one day out of the 12 days that I spent over there, so it was fantastic.
Hey Eddie, so how does the Dominican Republic fit into your situation? Because you're from Puerto Rico, correct? Or have I got that mixed up?
No, I'm from Dominican Republic.
Oh, okay.
My wife is from Puerto Rico.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
This is making sense. Yeah. Oh, you got the best of both worlds then.
I do.
Eddie,
that just means it's a crazy household.
We took up for you every time your name was mentioned. Like your friends. I'm just saying we took up for you.
Oh, cool. Stevie's a good guy.
Stevie's a good guy. He is.
And check it out. Our buddy Sam Laporte's in the chat tonight supporting you, Eddie.
Oh, look at that. Sam Laporte. Look at that profile picture. What a stud.
That man can sell you $1 million house, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, he has me sold without even looking at the house.
Yeah. And Sam, you need to find Eddie a nice little beach bungalow down here in the Jersey Shore. We've been in active negotiation. Unfortunately, he's always declining my cash offers.
What, $50? Like,
Max? Well, it is a tough market right now, but hopefully things look up soon.
Yeah, a bungalow where you live, Ron, is about $1.5 million, probably. Right?
And empty lots goes for a couple million where I live.
Yeah.
Wow. But that's another story. This isn't this week in real estate here. John,
this isn't Real Estate Nation.
So not Real Estate Nation. But we got a lot to talk about. So let's get right into the show today. DroneNation Deal of the Day. Now, this is a feature we always do. We got 2 deals tonight here. And the first one is, we talk about this a lot here, but the DJI Mini SE is now only $279 over at Amazon.com. And I did check that this morning. That was still, it was still for sale, still good as of 11 a.m. this morning. So we've talked about this drone before. Let me go to the other one so we can talk both about the same time. The second one, Amazon is also offering the DJI Mini 3 with the DJI RC controller. So you get the screen for only $549. And both these articles say this is the lowest price ever. I cannot confirm that, but I'll go right to Marcus on this here. What do you think about the prices on either of these deals here?
Well, they're both great deals.
You have both. Marcus has both drones. That's why I'm going right to him.
Yeah. They're both great deals. Like for instance, the Mini 2 SE, particularly somebody that's just starting out, or if you want a drone, you're on your Indian motorcycle or your something like that where you need something really portable and you don't want to have a lot of dollars in it and you're carrying it around with you. That Mini 2 SE, it takes fabulous video, 2.7K. However, it looks really good and it flies like a DJI drone. OcuSync 2, so you have a really good connection with the it comes with the RCN1 controller, I believe. But then the same goes, you spend, well, I guess it'd be darn near double the price, but
yeah,
well, it would be just about double the price.
Yeah,
that Mini 3 gets you a lot more capabilities with the all-in-one controller, 600 nit or 700 nit screen. I can't remember. There's value to that as well. And then they add a lot more capabilities. The only thing the Mini 3 does not have is it doesn't have any of the tracking stuff because it doesn't have obstacle avoidance. DJI never puts that on those kind of products. However, it takes fabulous 4K video and looks darn good. So again, that's another one. Portability is a big factor there. If you want something that you didn't spend a small fortune on, but to carry around on your motorcycle or when you're hiking in your backpack or whatever, it's a great.
And you get a much better camera on the Mini 3.
Much better camera on the Mini 3. That's the advantage, and a performance improvement too.
Right. And why we talk about these is I know somebody like you, people in the show have a little bit higher in the drone. Not necessarily advertising if you already own Mavic 3 Pros and things like that, but for beginners, it gives them a way to come into the drone game here without going to, as Marcus calls them, the second tier drones. Because a lot of the second tier drones, things like connection and stuff is unreliable. Well, at least these DJI drones offer, reliability.
Yeah, Ray Kelly said you get both of them for $549. There you go. Pick up both of them
at an affordable price point. So I don't have any links tonight, but I didn't. Sorry, I got lazy and links tonight. But they're easy to find over on Amazon.
I'm going to throw something up here. Our friend Richard says the Mini 3 has SDK and can do mapping. So there you go.
Right.
But budget mapping right there.
And Android only now. The newer ones are Android only for the SDK kits.
Yeah. So you could not sideload that. Now I'm just thinking. Let's think out loud here a little bit. You would not be able to sideload anything onto the RC controller, the DJI RC controller. So that would then put you into having to use the RCN1 and use an Android phone.
Yeah.
That's the triple tech or whatever. I think Richard is a big fan of the triple techs here. So here's another story that ties in with what we just talked about. Story number 2. 4K video could be coming to the DJI Mini SE series of budget drones. Now, when everybody did their firmware updates for the DJI RC controllers, RC2 controllers, when you went in there to choose your drone, guess what appears in now? It's called the Mini 4K. Appears as one of the drones that you could choose to fly with. Well, there is no Mini 4K drone yet, but it's in there. So, Marcus, could that possibly be the SE line getting a 4K version for the first time?
I suspect that's exactly why we're seeing the Mini 2 SE on sale. So what do you think about form factor, Ron? Is it going to be the original Mavic Mini form factor, or is it going to be the newer style form factor?
That's an interesting question, isn't it? I didn't look at the screenshot close enough in there to see if I could tell what form factor it was in the controller.
The other thing to bring up there is how does it differentiate itself from what we just talked about, the Mini 3, the Mini 3 standard. So, the Mini 3 standard is already a pretty good deal. So this is going to have to come in, I would assume, a little bit cheaper. So what's going to be in that package? It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Oh yeah, okay. So you just confirmed it. So it is the original Mavic Mini form factor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looks like it.
Doesn't look like it will do vertical video if that's.
Oh, you're right. You're right, Eddie. Good point. Yeah, because you're right. The Mini 3 will do vertical video. Yeah.
Well, I suspect if it is the the successor of the SE or whatever, it stays in the SE line, they're going to have to keep that price point well below the $549 for that Mini 3.
I would say so. You just made me think of something. So Eddie, I mean, I know you do a lot of professional work and stuff with your drones. Is there ever any time when you kind of just want a casual little drone like that?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
all the time. Yeah, when I'm not going out to intentionally fly, I bring my Mini with me, and the Mini is the drone that I just throw up. Like if I go to the mall with the wife and I'm just want to stay outside for a little bit and just fly. If I'm gonna go somewhere and I think there's gonna be an epic sunset and I want to do a hyperlapse, like the Mini gets the most airtime out of all my drones. To be honest,
you could do some great hyperlapses with them, can't you? I know I'm with you.
Yeah.
Line says sub $300. Yeah.
Eddie, when we get off the air here, I got to tell you a hyperlapse story, but this is to your ears only or whatever. But
it must have been at a nudie beach or something.
Well, Marcus, you were actually didn't see it, but you were present at the event. But anyhow, Johnny was too. So, but anyhow,
that sounds bad.
So we'll keep you up on the 4K version of the DJI Mini. Probably going to see it pretty soon. Okay, I want to go to another thing DJI kind of just released for the US this week, and they have a big advertisement for it. The DJI Power Series is now available in the US. We talked about this a couple of months ago when it was introduced in China only. But they have a DJI Power 1000 and 500. They're fast charging portable power solutions for DJI drones, outdoor adventures, and home energy backup. They start at $379 for the 500 series. And again, I think Johnny and Marcus both have these. And now before I go to one of these guys, let me say, I want to ask you, if you did not already own some other brand's power bank, pretend like you don't own any power bank. Would this probably be an interest to you, Johnny?
I mean, I have the Anchor brand, which is really great. So that's a great.
But what if you didn't have an Anchor?
I have an Anchor 521.
Okay. No, but his question is if we didn't have them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would. I definitely. I mean, I looked at a couple of reviews. Yeah, but for the price, it's not too bad because it's definitely more amps and stuff, more wattage. So it's. I mean, this one is pretty simple. I know Marcus.
The big one is, I don't know, $600.
Yeah. Like well, some of those things, you'll see them for. I mean, they do. I mean, they're $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. I know. They're great. In our situation, we always need power with the hurricanes and stuff like that. But yeah, I would definitely look at the DJI brand. It was pretty interesting.
Well, here's what you know about DJI right out of the gate, and like you, Johnny, I get them sent to me. If this is a 1,200 watt one, I can't even remember what brand, VDL back there, and it works great.
Yeah.
However, what you get from DJI is, they already have a reputation for quality, so it's going to work. And why wouldn't you pick DJI? I would.
Plus, they got remote ID on them too, so they're good.
I like the fast charge capability for the Mavic batteries. That was pretty cool, and the Air battery.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Hey, not to change the subject, but to kind of back up a little bit here, I saw Tanya's comment.
Go ahead,
Johnny, she says she loves hyperlapse and she spent time at the nudie beach. So Johnny, I think Tanya was there. I think you and I missed something when we were there at Dolman Beach.
Yeah,
evidently Ron found it. Yeah,
Ron must have had the big zoom going. I only had the 7.
Borrowed some of Lauren's big glass while we were down there.
He must have done a hyperlapse with the 7x lens.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think we're embarrassing Ron.
I think he's all colors, right?
Anybody knows that beaches in Florida have a bunch of mostly old people, especially up that way we were. So you don't want to see that.
I was seeing A cups. He was looking at the D cups, I guess. I don't know.
Hey, come on. We don't want to get taken down here, guys.
All the compression.
Yeah, the telephoto compression.
Yeah. Hey, well, you got keep joking for a second. I got a little something, just a breaking news story here, kind of guys. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
We're listening.
Hold on here. Hold on.
They're all photos, Sonya.
Hold on here. This is hold on.
The hyperlapse. He's gonna show the hyperlapse.
Oh.
You see anything yet? Oh,
Well, if I was still a farmer, I'd be interested.
what do you think this is, Marcus?
Well, it's an
DJI release this week.
agricultural product, so I assume it's got to do with fertilizing and planting.
Mm-hmm.
So this is nothing we're going to be hitting the buy button on this week.
No.
Well, like I said, I haven't been on the farm for a few years, so
Now unless
probably
we
not.
buy a farm all of a sudden, huh?
Yeah. But here's a good point, Ron. DJI and Eddie, I know you know this too, and Johnny, you too. DJI has always got something going on. They are continually pushing out products, whether it's an enterprise product or a commercial product that we're not interested in. However, they've always got something going.
Much to the chagrin of many in the U.S. government or the Congress.
I'll tell you what, I wish that they were a publicly traded company. I'd buy stock. I'm telling you, I'm not kidding.
Reading some of the comments here. Yeah, we're coming.
Okay, here's another shameless promotion here before we move on to the big stuff here. Don't forget to check out the new show on the DroneNation network here. It's called DroneNation Meets the Drone Seekers. We just released the third episode just this Sunday. This series is hot. We've got 3 episodes out. It's an international cast involved here. The reviews have been great. We're negotiating with Netflix to possibly pick the show up. So we want to go see these episodes for free before they get behind a paywall. Episode 4 is just starting it up or whatever. It's going to be some editing process done, but we will have an episode 4 out hopefully by the end of the week. And Johnny, have you seen a couple of these episodes? You haven't appeared in it yet, but you will make an appearance.
I have seen some. Yeah, they're pretty interesting. I like them. Something kind of different and some new faces there. Yeah, it's pretty great location there. Y'all had a great.
Oh, it's filmed entirely on location in the Jupiter Stewart Beach area there, and all filmed exclusively on the DJI Action 4. So so Marcus, you've enjoyed it so far, right?
Ron, just all kidding aside, I saw you walking around with that camera the whole time when we were doing things. Ron always had his camera out, right? And you. So what happens is you kind of just don't pay attention to it, and it just becomes okay. Ron's just walking around, right? Yeah. But what you don't realize is he's videoing everything, and he caught some pretty cool moments there, and it was a great idea, Ron. And you really it's a lot of fun.
And the highlight of episode 3 is we finally get a drone in the air, Eddie. The first couple episodes we were hampered by wind and whatever, but finally the winds left, but we got drones up in the air. And another shameless promotion here. I want to promote original Dobo Candono's creation here that Marcus ordered for us for the DroneNation network. It's the light box. Is that the correct
light box?
Yeah. And it comes with like it even comes with a remote. I got the phone where the remote is. You can make it do different things or whatever. So it's really pretty neat. Eddie, have you seen these before?
Yeah, I have. It's pretty cool. I have to get one from Ken.
Yeah. And it's really fairly inexpensive. It's a great idea. Anybody that does anything, live show like this, I wish that I had ordered the multicolored like Ron's is doing there. Mine is just the bright white light. And by the way, mine had it was the first one they made, but the problem is
remote control. Look at all the. I got more.
It's too bright, right?
Oh yeah, it's bright. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's real bright.
Yeah.
You could film some videos by that.
Well, so
use it as a softbox.
Yes. A little bit of inside baseball. So Ron, when Ken was making that one that you have, and I know he has some other people that help him out, I gave him the color file for that, right? And I was going to do it just in a a round box or a square one like this. He suggested, hey, no, do a cutout like that.
Mhm.
And then also, instead of doing it in color, that print on that one is in black. And look at how much better it shows
Yeah,
up.
it's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's the way to do it right there.
Yeah.
And that was all Ken's suggestions.
Now, someone would want to get one of these. Would they go to Kent's Etsy store?
Etsy stores where you get it.
Etsy store if you want to order one on your own. Okay, good. So I started on the link here. I'm gonna get a link here eventually. I did bad on links this week or whatever. So hey, another quick story. This is a breaking story, guys. And Eddie, I don't know if you've noticed this or not. The DJI Avata issue. You know, we always got to get issued these new drones, and this is the minor issue, folks. So everybody calm down in the chat. The Avata 2 is experiencing file timestamping issues. The wrong dates are assigned to video files. It popped up I saw it in Old Farts of Drones group today. Tom Dallin posted it, and I've experienced the same thing. The first 2 days I flew it, the dates were right, but the third date I flew it assigned the next date. Like I flew on the 15th and 16th, and they didn't fly again until the 20th, but it assigned the flights on the 20th and 17th. So far, nobody's figured that out. Eddie, have you looked at these timestamps at all on your flights?
No, I saw it that Tom posted it on DroneNation. I meant to look. I didn't notice. I did have that issue though with my Mavic 3 at one point, and what I noticed is that when you deep dive into the menu and the settings, you have to change the date, or you have to change your time zone. Like for me, it would be Eastern Standard Time because it was in another time zone, and that's why the time was all messed up. It was a day ahead.
Yeah,
okay,
that makes sense.
So
I mean, only they did said they got the time right the first 2 days, and then all of a sudden on day 3 decided to mess things up.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if that's a separate issue, but
whether it's related or not,
right?
We don't know that.
Yeah.
Lon says, "Oh no, what shall we do?"
Yeah. Oh, the world's ending. The world's ending. My timestamps aren't right on my
well,
flight.
it is an issue if somebody's trying to that metadata. If you're searching, it's important.
Well, it is. I mean, if you're doing something, I mean, it could be very important for a date or time. I mean,
True. Especially if you're doing professional work and all. You got different jobs. You got to be able to find things. Now, I mean, for me, I just started flying, so I had very few files on the drone, so it wasn't hard for me to figure out. But yeah, it could be an issue.
And
but okay,
the last Fly update reset everything. So I don't.
The Fly app got a couple updates. We got back-to-back updates because the first update kind of messed things up. Like Johnny, remember it turned you to P mode, normal to P mode, or whatever. But I think they got that fixed with the second update.
Yeah, and what's funny when you fly, well, it's still P mode, but when you fly with the goggles in the Air 3, it says normal on the screen in the goggles. But when you go back flying with the RC2, it says P mode. So yes, I don't know.
Still got some work to do there.
Yeah. That is position mode. That was on the Phantoms, actually, I believe.
Yeah.
Great Marcus.
Used to always be P mode.
Right.
Yeah.
P mode, right?
Somebody was griping on I think Greg's show today live was griping about the not being in because it says in on the control, but it says P on the screen. So,
well, let's hope we get that fixed in a future update.
I didn't really care. How about you, Johnny?
I mean, it could say Mickey Mouse. I guess you know what mode is in.
Yeah.
Maddie said, "Look, nice shirt, Stevie." So hey.
Oh yeah.
Stevie's popular today. I better go get my.
I'll tell you, you must not got the memo.
Yeah, evidently I didn't.
I mean, it's like $50 to wear this shirt.
Well, don't worry. I was talking to Stevie earlier. They're watching Godzilla. So
that's what Eddie told me. I don't know. He said expect a check.
Yeah.
Okay. little fist, yeah. Okay, let's get on to some of the big stories. Now, last week actually in the less than 2 weeks, we have two major releases. We had the DJI Avata 2 came out on Thursday morning, and like only about 5 days later, Insta360 dropped the X4. They had hinted around a couple of days before, so we knew something was coming. And usually they release an update to their kind of flagship 360 camera about every 2 years. So I think it was due probably in September, about that 2 year timeline. But they kind of moved things up this year, and they made some, pretty dramatic improvements. The one thing being 8K. People have been wanting 8K in a 360 camera for a few years now, and we finally hit that 8K point. Now, Eddie had an opportunity to go out and purchase a camera at Best Buy. He has a little video about this. I'm going to play a few clips here as he's talking about it here. But Eddie, what's your first impressions of the new Insta360 X4?
Oh man,
$499 for the base kit.
It's so cheap. I love it. Everybody should go out there and get it. Use my affiliate link.
Buy a couple of them.
Well, no, and to be honest, I only used it today's Monday, Saturday. I received it Saturday from Best Buy, and I wasn't gonna use it until I got all my accessories. I ordered my accessories from Insta360 website directly. They ship from Hong Kong, so I don't. Actually, I got an email notification today that it shipped out. I'm not sure when I'm gonna get that, but the one thing about Insta360's cameras is that they're so fragile, right? Like you're gonna use them in kind of risky situations unless you're just gonna walk with it. But if in my case, I was riding my electric skateboard, my boosted board, and I was nervous. But when I unboxed it at home, I realized that they included the standard lens guards, which usually the previous versions never included that. That was an extra accessory that you had to buy. So when I saw that it included that, I went ahead and I grabbed my old selfie stick from the X2. It had about 60% charge. I put it in a micro SD card, and I just went out and I wanted to try it out for myself. I didn't drop that little girl, by the way.
Yeah.
Everybody was saying that I pushed
you did in the comments.
Yeah, I don't know why she fell, but and I wasn't even going fast. But back to the camera. When I unboxed it, just the build quality, and I can only speak coming from the X2. But the build quality is just fantastic. It's a larger camera. In fact, I have it here. It's a larger camera. It's bigger. It feels more durable, if that makes any sense. But it's a larger camera. The LCD on it is huge.
That's a neat shot right there. Wow.
Yeah, and when I came back home and I replayed this video, it is much sharper and crisp, and the colors, the dynamic range, this is all raw. I didn't do anything here except just kind of keyframe myself here. So you see, like I didn't have the stick extended all the way, so that's why it has that warpy look, because I kept it relatively short. The thing with the 360 cameras is that you have to set it up for success, just like anything, like even with the drone, right? The best quality you will get out of this, or best result, is by extending the stick all the way. That way it allows enough distance from you and the camera. You saw there, like I just cut myself. I don't know if you saw that. You can see the separation, but that's because I didn't have the stick extended all the way. But yeah, just the colors alone, the sharpness, the quality, it's a huge improvement over the X2. I've been following the forums a lot. A lot of people were saying that if you have the X3, you don't need to update because the sensor is the same. 8K is probably something that they could have done on the X3 with a firmware update. But if you kind of like deep dive into what they changed the processor. So this is faster. So I guess because of the new processor, it can also handle 8K. And then the X4 can export true 4K with me mode, which the X3 cannot. But one thing that I did notice by just looking at different videos is the dynamic range, the color quality on the X4 is much improved over the X3.
You can see the blues in the sky there look very look very good. And Eddie, can you explain everybody what me mode is?
So me mode is pretty cool because the X2 doesn't have that. So me mode, you go into the setting on the camera itself. That's what I was doing there in that video right there. And you select me mode, and what it does is that the camera is always going to track you. It's almost like active track, but it's always going to track you and keep you in frame. The only the pro is that when you get onto the computer, there's literally nothing you have to do because you don't have to reframe anything. It's already done it for you. The con is that you don't have the flexibility in case that you do want to reframe, right? So suppose like I was in me mode and something happened behind me or in front of me and I want to kind of reframe to that. I can't because I was in me mode. It's only tracking you and your file only has you. But the benefit is that you get actual 4K output out of that. Whereas if you're doing 8K and you're reframing, your quality might be less than 4K depending on, you know, how much you're punching in, etc.
And was it me mode limited to 1080p on the X3?
I believe so, or maybe like 2.7K. Maybe, I don't know.
Do 4K in me mode.
No. This is the first camera that can do 4K. In me mode.
Yeah. And this also has an action camera mode on it too, which can shoot up to 4K 60 at this point, right?
Yes, it could do 4K 60.
And that requires no reframing in post, right?
Correct. It also has gestures, so there's certain like gestures you can do to it, and it'll start recording. The X3 doesn't have that, which I think is pretty cool. Like I like to use this when I'm on my bike, on my e-bike, and I'm riding. So if I have like the stick extended all the way, I can just now use a gesture and it'll take a picture. It'll start recording, which is pretty cool.
And this one comes with those shields. I'm going to call them guards for lenses, and that enables this to be more of an action camera now with those guards on. Correct?
Yeah. Well, in the past you can always buy the lens guards, but they were sticky lens guard where you have to glue them on. It had adhesive on it. This one now you can twist on and twist off, which is like the big selling point. Because you sometimes don't want to use the lens guard, like if you're under, you know, a lot of light, like the sun, for example, it can provide glare because you're adding another plastic over the camera. So you can easily twist it on and off. Whereas the previous versions, if you peeled it off, I mean, that's it. You have to buy another one because the adhesive won't stick back on.
One use, yeah. Now I have whatever the Insta360 is called for the Air 2S drone, and it came with the sticky guards on it. But just as you said, every time I fly, I see some kind of reflection or something.
Yeah, that's the bad problem about it. But like I explained in my video, I'd prefer having glare than damaging the lens, because the one thing about these cameras is that they don't have replaceable lenses. I wish that's what they would have done, or what they would do in the future, like a GoPro, right? Yeah. Where you can just untwist it and just buy and put in a new lens, where it's not a cover. But for that reason, I never take off the lens guard on my 360s, because to send this back and get it repaired, it's top dollar that they charge.
You might as well just buy a new one. And by the way, when Eddie talks about his e-bike, he doesn't just have an e-bike. He has a Super 73. Which series do you have of the Super 73, Eddie? Just our audience wants to know.
I have the RX, which is their top of the line.
Oh, dude, you're the R series. So that's full suspension and everything. So
everything, yeah.
Yeah, you're my hero.
I love that bike.
Oh man, that's cool.
So Eddie, I'm coming also from the I had the X2 series also, never got the X3, and I find I love the idea of the camera, but I never like the idea of going in and, like, you know, the reframing. And what I don't like to do is do that thing where I've got to take it from Insta360 to somebody else's software that made it in with other software, and I know it's a lack of my not becoming, you know, proficient at that type of editing. But the Insta360 themselves have upgraded their desktop app where you can combine different clips on the timeline and never have to leave Insta360's desktop app. So I think that may spur me on to maybe use the technology more now.
Yeah, no, it's much easier, and they now even include AI. So the Ace, I think the X3 has it, and then the X4 has AI where you can take some clips and they'll do some AI things to it. Like it can make you into a cartoon, it can change your environment. So they're spending a lot of money in their software innovation, which I think is good, because, you know, I think, you know, it does require a lot of work in post. And that's one of the things about using a 360 is that it's not like a GoPro, right? Where you have your clips, you find the sections that you want to use and you just drop it into your main video. This, like you said, you have to like spend some time, go through all that footage, find like the framing that you want, get creative with it, like with that globe or I forget what they call it, you know, where you kind of like look like you're in a
little tiny planet.
Yeah, tiny planet, and then zoom in. Like there's so much that you can do with these 360 cameras. It's unbelievable, but it requires time.
Now, who would you say this camera is for, Eddie?
I would honestly, I think it's for anybody, like anyone who wants to kind of explain. There's so many things you can use this camera for. You can use it for vacation. I think you can use it for vlogging now. You know, you can connect your DJI mics. You can connect your AirPod Pros to it, so you can get crisp audio.
Yep.
If you want to vlog, if you want to go on vacation, if you like doing like adventurous, like, you know, thrilling stuff, like get on a roller coaster or go hiking. The beauty about that camera is, again, you can just turn it on, hold the stick, and kind of forget that you're holding a camera, because you just do all your post processing afterwards and capture the moments that you want. So I strongly recommend it. I mean, when I got the X2, it kind of opened up my vision around a creative workflow. And I always take my X2 with me everywhere I went when I went out to do a video. And I always like incorporated it into like B-roll. But now with the X4 and the improved quality, like I can see myself using that camera more and more for day-to-day stuff.
Good points. I think the only thing you have to remember is you don't have a true action camera like a GoPro or an Action 4. This is a little more fragile.
Yes, the lens. But if you have the lens cover, though, I think you're pretty safe. And there's
Pretty
two
good.
lens covers that you can get. The standard one that it comes with, which you can also rebuy if you need to replace it. I think it's like $20. And then I ordered the premium lens guard, which is a little bit bigger, so it'll provide more protection, but it's glass. So when I receive that, I want to do a comparison to see if you get better results one over the other. But with the lens guard, I don't think that you won't have any issues with damaging the lens.
Johnny or Marcus, do you have any questions for Eddie on the X4?
No, I saw that video. It's pretty neat, though. Man, it's definitely pretty interesting for sure. I've never had a 360, but yeah, there's some people that do. I know Alex Escardo does some stuff. I know Eddie. There's a few people in the community that use them. Like them.
Yeah, Stevie just got it. He actually posted a really good video that he took of his son playing basketball on his Facebook page and he got some really like, unique creative shots, like just following his son around, getting some low angles, like following the ball when he went through the hoop, all just using the extended selfie stick, which I think is phenomenal.
And you actually ordered the new selfie stick for the Insta360. People, to explain this, Eddie, how the Insta360's own stick is invisible in the video.
Yeah, so it automatically deletes the selfie stick always. Wow. Yeah, I wish it was smart enough though. I think the Action 4 does this, where it deletes the shadow too.
But you have to do it in post. It's something you have to do.
You have to do it in post? Okay.
Yeah.
But I thought it did it automatically, the Action 4. Doesn't it do it automatically?
Somebody checked me in the chat here. I think it's something you had to do in post in the app.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that's the only thing, because
if I'm wrong, chat.
Because I think eventually it'll get there through software. That's just masking it out, and AI might just do that for you. But like even with my little video, when I'm on the boosted board, you see my shadow and you see me holding the stick, although you don't see the stick in the actual video.
Yeah. Hey, I got to go off topic for a second here. Or Warren has a comment in the chat. He says, any news on the Spectre Mini? Bill the Drone Reviewer says he's still not allowed to release his video on the Spectre Mini, but somebody else went rogue and released their Spectre Mini video. Our good friend, help me out, Marcus, sent us the link to it, and if I find it, I'll post it someplace.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I thought Bill the Drone Reviewer sent us that link, Ron, but I can't.
Help me out here. He's in the chat here tonight. Our good friend has sent a ton of information from upstate New York. I'm having a brain.
Oh,
drop. Richard sent the link to the guy that released the Spectre Mini video. I guess early, whatever. If I find it, Warren, I'll post up on DroneNation, whatever. Richard has it, so
it appears to essentially be a Mini 2, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know some people are fascinated. I don't understand the fuss of a 3-year-old clone coming out, but I mean that's just me.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. If it is a Mini 2, actually, because I mean there are a couple of people that have it now, but it's kind of weird that drone came out. Maybe
depends on the price point, doesn't it? So if it's a $150 or $200 drone, they'll sell a gajillion of them, because we all care about video quality and so on and so forth. there's a lot of people that buy those kind of drones just because they want to fly around the park and they want to see a drone flying around.
But it's funny they had the Air 3 version and then go to the Mini 2. So that's kind of a,
Yeah, this is all kind of hard to understand what's going on over
I'll be right back, guys.
That's what's kind of I say, and maybe it's just price point. It might be $200. You know, I don't know. And maybe we're looking at it, outside the U.S. That's a big deal. The sub 250, no remote ID, maybe. So, you know, maybe that's what
I guess it will all come together eventually on what the purpose of all this is. So just to wrap up on the Insta360 X4, I mean, I've seen other videos, Eddie, where I could tell that the 8K, because I think the 8K you could reframe it down to around 4K, so it looks much better than what I was getting on my X2 or the X3. Like you said, the color, the dynamic range, everything looks better. I mean, when you put them side by side, the difference is clear that the X4 has stepped up the game as far as the video quality. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it does a lot of things. 72 megapixel 360 photos. It has active HDR. It's a great camera overall.
And it always had 5.7K, but now they bumped up to 60 frames per second, and the 8K is at only 30 frames per second. And I think they have a 4K 120 frame rate on this too. So people that are frame rate fans, this has more options.
Eddie, what about low light? Is that? I mean, have you tried anything low light capability? Or?
No, I haven't tested on low light, but I mean, I don't think this will perform. I've seen some examples in low light, and you can kind of see a lot of grain and noise. You have to remember that this has a smaller sensor, right? And it doesn't have sort of like night mode like DJI product has.
Not really made for that, I guess. You're right.
But what I do want to mention is that, it has a larger battery now. So it's supposed to last 67% more time recording it. The battery is 2290 milliamp hours. So it has a larger battery, which that's why it's kind of bigger now. And it has the bigger screen, and it includes this cover here. You see this? This is I
saw that.
Take it off. Yeah, it includes a cover because it does 8K and supposedly it gets hot. Let me take it out. So it comes with this little thing here, so that you don't burn your hands. That's for safety. It says in the manual.
Yeah. My advice, Johnny, if you want a low light, if your main goal is to get a low light camera, this isn't the one.
Oh yeah, no.
That's your main concern.
I mean, no, it's like even the action cameras, So.
Well, it seems like if you want low light on a small portable action camera, it seems like the Insta360. What's the one they released around Christmas? That's the one to get for low light.
360.
Yeah, I forget. They got so many cameras. I forget the name. Their action camera type thing.
Oh, the Ace. The Ace. Yeah, the
Pro
Ace
is probably the one for low light if that's your main concern.
Yeah.
So Insta360 has more products than anybody, where they got everything covered over there. Those guys have really been knocking out of the ballpark lately. So, but let's switch over to another. I might as well say it. It's the hottest drone out there right now. It was released less than 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago tomorrow, in fact, the DJI Avata 2. It is already taken over the community. That's all anybody talks about anymore. And we'll get Eddie's kind of first impressions, of this new drone and how it compares with DJI's first two FPV drones. Because I believe, Eddie, you've owned the original Potato and you've owned the Avata 1, so you can kind of put them all together. Because Johnny and I, our first FPV drones was the Avata 1. I don't think I've ever flown a Potato. If I did at a meetup, maybe I flew for 5 minutes or whatever, but I really don't have any experience with that at all. But Eddie, go give us your thoughts on the Avata 2 and then circle back to the other drones.
The Avata 2, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's everyone is buying it for a reason, right? I think it's just that good. I think the Avata 2 is probably what the Avata 1 should have been. I mean, it looks like more like a consumer finished product, right? You look at the Avata 1, it's sort of I don't want to say it's an incomplete drone, but just like from the build quality, the final product, the Avata 2 looks like the final product. And I think that you know, we might have been beta testers with the Avata 1 and they heard all our feedback and they corrected, right? There's so many things that was corrected on this new Avata 2, the micro SD card placement, you know, the goggle fitment, the tumble issue that we saw on the Avata 1 when it first came out, the camera quality. I think those are all those things they were addressed in the Avata 2. I don't have a single complaint on the Avata 2, and you know I'm a stickler when it comes to camera quality. The dynamic range was my biggest frustration on the Avata 1, and it's the reason why I still continue to fly my FPV drone, the Potato, with a GoPro on top, because I just couldn't get the results that I was looking for on the Avata 1. And with the Avata 2, I mean, I'm impressed with the camera. I mean, I can't ask for anything more on that little tiny Cinewhoop.
Hey, I want to shout out Bill at Metro Drones for his kind donation type. Bill's one of the nicest guys in the drone community.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, I agree with you, Eddie. For me, well, in my situation, the goggles made all the difference in the world for me. They're the first DJI goggles that allow me to see the whole screen and to see clearly. Now, that was my own physical limitation with my eyes, but and then the drone itself. I mean, it's just, let's see. Let's put it this way. I think much like one of DJI's mini drones or GPS drones, a beginner could buy that drone, take it out, and be successful flying it the first day. I think this is the first FPV style drone that somebody that's never flown a drone before could pick that thing up and fire it up and be successful instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so balanced. You know, the Avata original was kind of top heavy. This thing is just it's really it's great. I mean, Eddie, you know, the battery to the camera to the SD card to the I mean, the props up and it's quieter. You didn't. I mean, that's a big thing. Everybody loves. You know, I think they're thinking we're kind of you know, when you first hear it, it's like, man, it's not much louder than maybe an Air 3 or something. You know.
Yeah, it has that.
Johnny, show those bumper guards.
Yeah, where'd you get those bumpers, Johnny? Where'd those come from?
Where'd you get those things from, Johnny?
Yeah, Ken, original Gobo. Yeah.
Are they in the Etsy store?
They are.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
We're plugging Ken so much that we're gonna have to get an affiliate link from Ken.
Yeah, hey, these are neat. They fit. I'll tell you what, they're perfect. I mean, they're really a great job on the printing of that.
You use code DroneNation for 1% off.
Yeah, for 1%. Hey, so Joe Fodoleo, I got to put up Joe's comment up here. Yeah, the Avata 1 was so repair friendly. So Joe's got my Avata 1. And the first thing he did was replace the motors.
Yeah.
And that is a knock, Eddie, from I think even a couple of the big channels mentioned that they do not think the Avata 2 is as repairable as the Avata 1 was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the repairability, but I'm sure it can be done. But I think it's gonna you know be more labor intensive, and you probably need to know what you're doing. Like if you're one of those guys that know how to take a DJI drone apart and like change an arm and stuff like that, change a gimbal, this probably won't be a big deal, but it's definitely not as easy as the Avata 1. I think the Avata 1, that drone is so customizable and repairable.
This thing is so steady though. If it's just hovering, I mean, it is incredible. I mean, if you do put this up and just let it sit there and then put the Avata up, not that it moves around that much, but man, this thing with these, you know, the sensors back here, they're just positioning type sensors, but
yeah,
you know, it's not.
And it's one thing I noticed immediately when I first flew it is that it's very floaty. And what I mean by floating is that when you try to do an acro move in like true acro, right, like in manual, when you're doing it yourself, if you try to do a roll or a split S or power loop, you can easily do it with the Avata 2. When I first got my Avata 1, I go to this like office parking lot on the weekend to test out drones. And the first thing I did was try to do a roll with the Avata 1, and I immediately crashed it because as soon as I let go of the throttle, the thing just fell down to the ground like at 40 miles per hour. So it doesn't have any of like that floatiness to it. And then when I picked up the Avata 2 and I hit the throttle, I was surprised on how how much punch it has. You know, like you can feel it, that it's gonna really move and take off when you hit that throttle. And I immediately started doing rolls, and it was just doing rolls like a normal FPV drone, like one of those home built drones. So I thought that
I
was pretty
completely
neat.
agree with both of you. To me, even though the specs don't say it flies any faster than the Avata one, to me the thing, as Marcus always says, the flight characteristics are much better on the Avata 2. And I agree with Eddie about the float thing, and that float in a good way or whatever. It just hangs in the air better than the kind of like top heavy rock feeling of the first one. But I mean, when I flew the Avata one, you know, like I was okay flying it, but I kind of felt like it was flying as much as me, where when I'm flying the Avata 2, I'm in complete control. It responds to every little thing I do, unlike the first one. It's almost like, okay, when you're driving your first car, you're driving your parents' sedan or whatever, and then you get your own car, and your own car is kind of a sports car, and it just handles that much better.
And the Avata one, that high pitch noise that it makes, especially when it's windy, gives me anxiety. I feel like I'm not gonna get it back.
Well, to your point, one of the things that I worried about with the Avata 1 is I'd see people flying it at parks and things like that, and it made so much noise. I can kind of understand if you're somebody that's out at a park for a little peace and quiet and you hear this thing whining above you, you may not appreciate it, right? So, I think stealth is key.
Yeah.
Marcus, what you have to do is when you had the Avata 1, go over to the Heroes Park and wait for those people to start mowing the grass, and then take it off, because that's what I do. Once the landscapers come around, they can't hear any drones. The landscapers blur out everything else.
True there.
Eddie, is there anything that I mean, I know I'm like you. I know you, of course, you did a little video before. Is there anything that they missed on this, or it seems like everything we kind of asked for, they did it? You know?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say there's anything that they miss. I mean, I think like frame rates is still, you know, something that people are asking for. Like, you know, they wish it can do 4K 24, right? For those that shoot in 24 frames per second. But you know, that's almost impossible with just one camera feed back to your goggles, because I mean, I mentioned this earlier when I was on DroneNation, I think the previous time, if you try flying in 30 frames per second, it's really tough, because all that motion blur that you're going to see in your videos, you're also seeing it in your goggles. So if you're flying at high speeds and all that motion blur, you know, that's going to be problematic. The only thing
you want it at 60 then.
You want it at 60, yeah. You know, the only thing that they could have done, which Ken mentioned it on his video review, is have a second camera where you have one camera for your goggle feed and one dedicated camera that's going to record. Then I think you could, you know, have 24 frames per second. But I think that's asking a lot for a little Cinewhoop, especially at that price point. In the future, maybe we'll see something like that, and maybe in like a prosumer, more expensive high-end FPV drone. But, you know, Johnny, I think back to your question, I think, you know, they covered it all. I mean, I wish they didn't make us buy new goggles and new remotes. Or I wish that we had the option of buying, you know, a bundle with the RC, with the FPV controller versus the motion controller, because I'm hearing a lot of good things about the motion controller. I've tried it a couple of times and I can't, like, it's not for me. Like, I'd rather have the sticks. I'd rather have the FPV controller.
Yeah, and I think they did that the second time in a row. Both the Avata 1 and 2, they don't offer the base package for anything but the motion. Is that because they want everybody to fly with the motion? Why do you think that is?
I think it's just strategic marketing, right? Because this is not for like the hardcore FPV guys. This is for recreational pilots. These are for, you know, air and Mavic pilots that want to get into FPV. And I mean, look what easy acro mode does. I mean, that's incredible. The fact that you can do a flip and a roll just with the motion controller. So I think that's why they're selling it with the motion controllers, because it's geared toward that audience. And perhaps it's just trying to increase market share, right, of pilots that have GPS drones and getting them over to the FPV. And then for those that graduate or advance or hardcore, then you can buy the second controller separately.
Yeah, and that's what they want to do. I mean, they'll sell, you know, eventually you might end up building a drone, and they're selling 03 and 04 air units. And I think that's why, like, maybe Bardwell and them got I'm not saying they would never fly this drone again, but I think they're pushing the goggles, and that's a good thing for DJI.
Yeah.
So I just noticed something a little odd. I was just looking at some files from a flight that I did today. The video file from the goggles had a 200 megabit bit rate. The video file from the drone was only 100 megabit bit rate. Haven't they got that backwards? I just noticed it just now looking at the stats of the individual files.
Marcus, I do have to admit the screen recordings from the goggles do look pretty darn good.
They do, and evidently that's why you got.
They're the best screen recordings I've probably seen. And we got a comment from Tom Downinger up on the screen here. He loves the motion controller, and Johnny and Marcus, do you agree with me? I think the Motion 3 is a much better motion control than we've seen so far. I really enjoy flying with Motion 3 more so than the 2 or whatever.
As long as you push the right button when you're over the water, just don't push
don't hit that land button.
Eddie, what about the pass-through mode? I mean, is that something? I mean, to me it's okay, but is that something that maybe in the future drones that's going to be it's a stepping stone to something that could be really good?
I think it's an introduction to something greater that's coming in the future, right? I think this is just like them testing the waters. I think there's so much you can do with it. I hope that they can correct the focal length right now through firmware on the current ones we have and make it more wider, maybe perhaps. I don't know if it could possibly be done through firmware. Who knows?
It has limited use, doesn't it?
Yeah, like when I first heard about it, I thought that was going to be my favorite thing about the Avata 2, but when I got the chance to use it and actually try it out, I wasn't really like impressed at all because
you're only really seeing
you still have to touch your goggles to get past through, right? You still have to press
or click on the motion controller.
On the motion controller, but on the FPV controller, you can't assign a shortcut.
Yeah, so I mean, if you find FPV, it's kind of hard to take your hands off the sticks.
Right.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, because if I have to touch my goggles, I'm just going to place my drone in pause mode anyway and just lift up and have full 360 view.
And I want to push back just a little bit on the the pass through or whatever. Now I understand everybody was hoping you got this big super wide fisheye view of everything around you, but that narrow view, that is good if you're somebody like me or Marcus that are trying to start a B-roll camera or whatever up or whatever.
And I've done that.
It shows exactly what's right in front of us, and we want to see that GoPro sitting there. We want to make sure we're seeing the start button and make sure it's playing. So that zoomed in view is good for people trying to operate another piece of gear right near their goggles, right in front of their goggles.
I think it's a trial thing. It's their first step.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, so I want to go back to Easy Acro for just a second. This little $30 toy drone, it'll do one button push flips. It'll do one button orbits. So anyway, we're making a big deal about the Avata 2 having Easy Acro. Toy drones have had it for a long
What drone is that? Is that what?
This is the Potensic Firefly. Yeah, Johnny's got it right.
Johnny sold a whole bunch of them at the meetup, Eddie. He threw it in the lobby.
I just called Potensic up and said, "Send me one." So, but yeah.
Hey, Tom Down is making a comment in chat. He says, "Make sure you use 4x3 aspect and wide with electronic stables off in order to use the gyro flow."
Mm-hmm.
So good tip there, Tom. Hey, we talked about the goggles briefly here, but as much as I think that the goggles cost more than the drone, Eddie, what are your impressions of the goggles 3 versus either the Integras or the goggles 2?
Oh, I love it. Just because I always had a problem with the goggles 2, the way it fit my face. I always had light leaks and I had like this bad pressure on my nose. I have a big nose. I had this bad pressure here on my nose and it made it really uncomfortable where I couldn't do like batteries back to back. I always had to kind of take a break just because of the fitment. And I never really got the adjustment right where I can see where everything was sharp. I always had to make adjustments, which I found very weird. And now the new one, like it fits so comfortable on your face. There's no light leak. I love what they did with that thing around your face
across your head here.
Yeah, and I don't have the Integras. I have the goggles 2 is the most latest ones that I have. I love that I don't have to plug in my phone every time to fly.
Yeah.
That was the most annoying thing ever.
Oh yeah.
Was plugging in your phone so you can, be remote ID compliant in the drunken arm.
So
we all
people
went
that
straight to the
don't know,
Integra, so we never had to deal with that.
I just wanted to point out the interface. It's just a little neoprene.
Yeah, not really the foam.
It's not foam or anything, but
you don't need the foam. It's that comfortable.
that's exactly right. The goggles themselves aren't touching your face.
They do make replacement foam though. On some people have changed it out already. So
okay, yeah.
They should sell that for the goggles too. I don't know if it'll fit, or they should make it for the goggles too in the Integra, because you can swap them out.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So
Marcus? I think you've said before. Give us your quick impressions of the Goggles 3.
Well, so the big deal for me is that all you have to do is look at my eyes. I have a strabismus. They don't work together. So, now I'm looking at you with one eye and now the other, and you can see it moves off. So looking at one eye at a time. So with either eye, I need to be able to see that whole screen. And I've never been able to do that on any DJI goggles ever before until this one. I can, and John Coopy, he said that it's probably because the OLED screen in there is closer to your eye now, which makes a lot of sense. Makes sense to me. But I can adjust it for either eye, and I can see the whole screen, and I'm very comfortable. So that was just huge for me, and that was a big problem with me using goggles. Now I realize that's my problem, not everybody else's problem. Yeah. But like Eddie says, it's just a world of difference comfort-wise. It's just not even the same thing. You don't have any of that pressure on the bridge of your nose. And the forehead thing, you'd think that maybe that might bother you, but I've never even noticed it. So
no, you almost got to push it down an extra one to it fits so comfortable.
I didn't get that extra clip, John. Yeah. You're pretty happy with the Goggles 3, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love the Integras. I didn't really have a big problem with the Integras, but these are I mean, to me, it's super clear. I mean, definitely. I mean, because you can dial it right into your to your glasses, and man, it's clear.
Eddie, I could fly, all three batteries all the way through with the Goggles 300. And when I'm done, I'm not even, I'm not even rush to take them off or whatever. I feel great after going through the 3 batteries. And like Johnny says, I can dial my prescription in and whatever. I can see clear with the goggles on than with the glasses on off or whatever. I mean, like it and they're just terrific. I mean, I had the Integras. I like those too, but the Goggles 3 kind of take it to a whole other level. Just kind of, we were saying, the drone, it's like DJI got a checklist and got everything right in the drone. They got everything right in the goggles. They got everything right in the motion controller. I mean, you have the DJI RC3, I guess, Eddie, with the the one that doesn't have the antenna coming up or whatever.
Right.
Are you pretty happy with the that new controller?
Yeah, I was nervous at first because I thought about the what is that called? The RC2, the RC1, but the smart controller that came with the Mini 3 Pro.
No antennas on that.
Right. Remember they took away the antennas, and the Mini 3 Pro kind of struggled with signal because it didn't have antennas.
Right. And then they put them back on.
And then they put it back on. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh man, here we go.
Yeah.
When they took them off and they're gonna come back on later on.
Yeah.
But no signal issues at all. And plus, like, the Avata, you don't take as far as a GPS drone, right? Because it's more of a cinder whooping and doing different things. But I haven't had any single problems with it, and it is significantly lighter than the previous FPV controllers. Like,
that's what they say. Yeah,
difference.
Like it's empty inside. Everybody says it's so light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find an OcuSync 4 in a drone like the Avata 2, which I'm going to be typically flying lower than my camera drones, that makes a big difference because the signal penetration to get kind of behind things near buildings. I'm much more confident with its signal than I was on the Avata 1.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the same thing out in the field?
Yes. Yeah, it's
trees and stuff like that. Yeah.
Eddie, do you sit or stand to fly?
Stand.
You stand. Okay.
Yeah. When I first started flying FPV, I had to always sit, but then I don't know. Now I can't sit. If I sit, I feel like disoriented. Like if I'm gonna fall off the chair, so I have to stand.
I'm the master. I could stand, sit, lean. It doesn't matter to me.
I gotta sit.
Yeah, I could do it. I could do any way. You know, whatever the situation dictates.
So Eddie, there's some talk about this thing could be speeded up. I mean, any thoughts of that?
What do you mean, like speed it up?
What do you mean?
Firmware, some updates, because it seems like it goes a little faster anyway.
You mean the drone speed itself?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. I fly mostly. I hardly ever fly it in normal sports. I'm flying it in manual acro, and I'm fine with the speed. I mean, at one point I think I touched 60, but I had some tailwinds with me, right? But I'm fine with the speed. Like I don't need any more speed from this drone. I don't think that DJI is limiting the speed. I mean, it might be limited in normal or sports, just like how they do GPS drones. When you click it into sports, it goes faster. But I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Yeah,
the acro is so you getting 60 is.
I've hit 60 on the Avata too.
Yeah, pretty neat.
Yeah.
So Johnny, are you going to order the manual controller?
I think I'm gonna just wait and see if it's compatible. They keep saying it's gonna be compatible. So I mean, I got the controller. I don't really know what.
Yeah, people are saying 30 days. The RC.
I mean, I don't really
FPV2 controller work with it.
If they do, I mean, I don't know. Not that it's $200, so I don't really know what the big difference would be in the sticks. As far as that. So I'll just kind of hang tight on that and see.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have OcuSync 4 or whatever.
Right.
But to Eddie's point, hey, it's an FPV drone. You're not going to fly it that far anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I have one more subject. We kind of talked about it already. The subject 8 was, as the dynamic range improved on the Avata 2, Eddie pointed out some issues with the dynamic range on the Avata 1 the last time he was in the show, and you're pretty happy with the increase in dynamic range on this update.
Yeah. I mean, it's a more balanced video now. It has HDR, right? When you're shooting in 60K, which 60 frames per second, which helps with that.
Right.
But you also have D-Log M, which I think it's going to be a step in the right direction.
So that you can, color, right?
Right. So that you can capture all that detail and then you can grade afterwards, or you can just slap on a LUT. With the Avata 1, you only had decent alike, and although it's sort of flat, when you try to grade it, it's still, the image will fall apart. Yeah. So no, I'm really happy. I mean, when I saw the results out of the Avata 2, I mean, I was sold immediately just because of that camera quality.
One of the first things I did, Eddie, was, I took it out in a day where the sun was coming down enough that, I had shadow stuff, and I flew it towards the sun, and the highlights didn't get totally blown out like the Avata 1 did. Then I turned around, flew away from the sun, and the shadows did not get crushed like they did on the Avata 1. That's basically dynamic range, where if a camera doesn't have enough, it said it crushes shadows and blows out highlights. And you want to kind of have, I mean, if you fly towards the sun enough, you're going to blow out any highlights. But but at least they're manageable in this thing. They're not like just unrecoverable.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. It's doing a wonderful job compared to the Avata 1 and the FPV drone.
You found that deal, huh, Johnny?
That's with 2 batteries. They're $129.
Put that deal up.
Yeah, I mean, that's not no deal, guys. I mean, I would just
money.
wait. Yeah, it's they're $129 a piece, not $160 a piece.
Oh, okay.
That's $180 a piece.
Are those who's selling that? Is that DJI on Amazon, or who's the seller?
No, it's a Inso store. It's a.
But are they saying those are authentic DJI batteries, or those are off-brand?
Yeah, that's what it says. Original Avata.
That's a lot of money for batteries.
Yeah, so it's $180. Well, $190 a piece for a $129 battery.
Especially when the Avata 2 only costs $489 as a solo purchase.
I think 3 batteries is a sweet spot when you're flying, when you're flying a Cinewhoop or you're flying FPV drones. Like 3 batteries, I think is enough. What I would do is, instead of spending $400 on 2 batteries, spend it on a power bank like DJI's. Take it on the field with you and just recharge them. Let them cool off and then recharge them on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I I totally agree with Eddie, but I think us on the panel here, we're different than some people. Some people, all they have is the FPV drone, so they want to keep flying. But when I go out the field, probably all of them, I have a camera drone with me too, so the more than one drone is going to get flown. So I don't really need 6 batteries because I'm going to fly at least two different drones or whatever.
Yeah. Lately, I mean, I always go out with 3 batteries because any drone I buy, I get to fly more. But I'm always coming back with one fully charged. Like I'm not going through 3 batteries anymore. I don't know. It's just pretty weird.
You can't throw them in here though when they're hot. So you got to kind of let them cool down.
Yeah, you gotta let them cool down. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had Billy on the introduction show. He said he preferred the old stick one because the batteries, you wouldn't have to put them inside something. The batteries had more of a chance to cool. And the stick charger for the Avata 1 charged 4 batteries.
That's why this thing was so top heavy though. I mean, look at
Yeah, you used to hold the batteries up and the weight of the Avata 1 battery.
But they did cool down. They got cool really quick, open air like that. So
what I would like to see in future drone batteries is just a USB port in each battery where you can just plug in a USB-C and just charge on the battery like
why does it have a dedicated? Yeah, I totally agree.
You can charge it. You can charge it in the drone. I mean, just one. So
yeah.
Oh, Eddie, we kind of missed the big news or the important news. How did you like the way they moved the SD card slot and the micro USB to a different location on the Avata 2?
That's game changing. You know how annoying it was to kind of move the prop and take it out. And sometimes I will pop it out and it'll fall and I have to go find it on the ground. But more importantly, the new one now has 48 gigs, right? Is it 48 gigs? 48 gigs.
47 like 46. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which they need to.
We've been calling for that for years on drones, right?
Well, memory is so cheap that I think every drone should have at least 128 gigs on board. Like you shouldn't have to buy a $20 or $30 micro SD card when you're spending over $1,000 on a drone. But I mean, 48 is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what engineer designed that the memory card slot in the former Avata 1, but hopefully they reassign him to a different job this time around.
They fired him, Ron.
Was that one of the worst design decisions you've seen from DJI?
They probably didn't have another place to put it, because if you look at that drone, where else could you put it?
Maybe it's even been an afterthought, right? They designed the whole drone and they said, "Oh crap!"
Yeah, no SD card. Yeah.
They should have done is given us 128 gigs internally then.
And then nobody have to ever worry about opening that hatch up.
Yeah, well, no, then you have to plug in the USB-C through there.
Hey, and Eddie, how many people, and I did it, I know, and when you took it out and if you didn't put it back in, you take off and that thing is hitting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people ruin props like that. Some people even said that caused crashes, that they get off the ground before.
Absolutely,
yeah.
So anyhow, this has been a great April so far for tech. The Avata 2, almost the perfect drone. I've already been called the drone of the year already, and I don't even know what's coming the rest of the year. And now with this Insta360 X4, it's been a great tech month, Eddie.
It has. It needs to slow down because I can't keep spending money.
It was expensive, but it was expensive month too, right?
It was, yeah. It was expensive for everybody. Look, you guys went to Florida. You had to buy airfare and all that. Buy the Avata 2. Now after the show, you have to buy the X4.
Stock market's been going down.
Hey, I bet you I flew the Florida on Spirit Airlines a lot cheaper than you flew the Dominican Republic.
Oh, Dominican Republic is always expensive to fly down there. They rip you off to go down there.
And it was like $35 on Spirit to fly down.
That's wonderful.
$35.
Well, of course, the budget airlines make you pay for luggage, so it's $55 for my checked bag.
Wow.
That's cheaper for me to that's cheaper than an Uber for me to go to my local pizza shop.
There you go. I know it's cheaper than a cab, than an Uber. Yeah.
And then you fly in the West Palm or whatever, which is a nice little airport or whatever. I mean, I was less than an hour away from where I was staying in Jupiter or whatever. I just rolled out of the airport basically, and I met Marcus and Mike Ray in the parking lot of the Best Western Intercoastal. And I got out of the car. I didn't bother checking in, getting it. The only bag I got was my drone bag. We went right back on the Intercoastal, flew the Sunset 5 minutes after getting out of the car, the rental car.
Wow.
So, but we don't play around down there, Eddie.
Ron
No,
knows
I
his
see that.
sunsets. He wouldn't even. He goes, man, I'm not checking in. We're going to catch this sunset.
So it was it was kind of, but anyhow, it has been an expensive month, but and I roomed a lot down there, so like I split room fares, and rate gets a great rate down there. It was only about $135 a night at the official hotel. Help me out, Johnny. What was the official hotel?
Hampton Inn.
Hampton Inn. It's only like $135 a night. I split it with Alex, so
we actually
it wasn't even like $70 a night for me.
We got some good news on the hotel, but I'm gonna let Ray announce it Wednesday night on the Fly for Fun show.
Oh, So you got a show this week, right, Johnny?
Yes, we do. We have who I have? Oh, Jack from Half Chrome, and he'll talk.
The guy that's got all the Spectre drones.
Spectre, yes, Spectre drone.
Hey, I need to answer Tom here.
Put that question up there, Ron. See what.
I was going to answer Tom here.
Okay.
Tom, I don't need a plane ticket. I'm going to be driving. I can drive to Vegas.
Okay. And then I'm going to put Paul Brown's up. Question for the panel: do you think that the cost of remote ID modules and the effect of FPV pilots, do you see more people pushing towards the Avata to avoid the hassle?
No, absolutely not.
Not even. Yeah.
No, I don't think. No, that's all I say. No.
Right. The people that are hardcore FPV flyers are going to keep flying their home belts. Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
The Avata is more for us, kind of a lot of us camera drone guys that want to dip our toes in the water on FPV, but we don't want to get our hands dirty with soldering and beta flight and all that stuff.
So, Johnny, have you got your FPV drone right there handy?
The one I built?
Yeah, the built one.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I mean, it's right here.
Oh, okay. Well, don't worry about it. I just wanted you to show us where the module is on it.
Oh, yeah.
The remote ID module. I wanted you to show us where
yeah.
He'll do it the next.
He didn't install it yet. It's still in process.
Yeah. It's not that drone's never flown, Marcus. I mean,
if Johnny flies it in the house, you don't need that stuff inside.
Hey, hey, didn't you hold the motion? Didn't you fly the V-copter, Marcus?
I did not fly the V-copter.
Oh, right.
I'm on video, Johnny. I'm on video flying.
Proof. We got proof.
I'm just saying, I never flew it. I mean, so
Johnny, when I flew it, Johnny, I stuck the remote ID module in.
Okay, I got
the one I had in my back pocket. Yeah. Hey, one back to the Avata 2 just for a second. Were you able to get any ND filters for your Avata 2 yet?
No, Freewell is sending me, and Freewell, I know Marcus is getting one because Freewell sent an email to everybody and didn't blind BCC anybody. So I think Marcus was like the second person on that distribution, but yeah, Freewell sending them out. I think they just shipped, Marcus. I got an email today, I think, saying that it shipped.
Yeah.
When do you think they'll be available to purchase retail on outlets such as Amazon or whatever?
Usually, I want to say maybe like what, Marcus, like a week or two, right? After. Usually like a short time after.
Doesn't take them long. Yeah.
One thing is,
John, through our contacts, it sounds like all our friends, all our budget ND filter people are going to have theirs out the first week of May.
Yeah, it says May the 3rd through the 8th.
Yeah. So, because you usually the problem is these things. The DJI filters are usually kind of sold out, or they're in stock 1 minute, they're not another. So it's hard to get the DJIs. I think they give them all out to the influencers, none left for the paying customers. And then the good folks at Freewell, they're kind of slow in getting theirs out to the consumers. So a lot of us, the kind of the budget ones kind of fill that gap, or they're available and they get out a little, unlike DJIs, and they get out a little bit sooner than Freewells.
The rejects from the Freewell factory that the budget drone people sell. Just kidding. Hey, but one of the things that happened with this email that Eddie's talking about, usually you just get an email with just your name on it from somebody at Freewell. Well, this time, there's how many names on there, Eddie? Probably
it's over 100. It
was
like 100 and something, yeah.
So there, you knew it was going to happen. People hitting reply to all, and so you get these emails. Oh yeah, send these filters, and you have addresses.
And that's why there won't be any left for the consumers to send, just like DJI, to send them all out to the influencers or whatever.
But that's a miss. So thinking about your question, like what should the Avata 2 include? I think anytime you buy a Fly More kit, include the filters. Like even upcharge me, like charge me the extra 80 if you're gonna charge me for it, but include it in the package.
I'd rather have that on the price and just get them right
If you,
out of the box.
if you think about it,
to do that. They used to do that.
Back then, the Fly More packages used to always come with filters inside.
They gave us a bag though this time. So hey, actually the price,
the bag's actually nice, Eddie.
I mean,
I love the bag.
But now you're gonna pay $100 for filters.
I mean, and the
I'm not on that list, so I guess I'm gonna have to. Yeah.
None of the four of us on this panel are going to.
Because DJI doesn't send the filters, I'm going to have a whole month of footage that looks like a video game, no motion blur or whatever, before I actually can put a filter. And DJI only gave you 3 filters. And wasn't it like odd? Wasn't it like 8, 16, and 32?
I don't
think you got 64 from DJI's kit.
I'll tell you in a second.
I mean, it's usually a 4-pack, huh?
Yeah. Anyway,
I think DJI's was only a 3-pack that they offered with the.
Okay, you're going to make me do it, aren't you, Ron? I'm going to dig out my Air 2S here and I'll tell you.
Well, no. We're talking about the Avata 2.
Yeah, so the Avata 2, I'm looking at B&H website. It's you're right. It's 8, 16, and 32.
Oh wow.
So they don't think you need a 64. Where I think, I think when the Start RCs of the world release theirs, I think theirs is a 4-pack and they include the 64.
I'll tell you, and I learned this from Billy and Eddie. One of the most fun things to do with ND filters are those really dark ones, the 1000s and 2000s, and getting the super motion blur. It looks so flippin' cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You probably won't want to use those on these.
Not on the Avata, no.
Yeah, the Avata. You're correct. The Avata wouldn't be a drone.
That work for camera drones or hyperlapses. Yeah. But anyhow, we need quicker availability of ND filters. For these drones, especially like the Avata, because I mean, say when you're flying a camera drone, you may be flying at 200 feet up. You're not near anything. You're not going to see motion blur. But the Avata 2, you're low to the ground. That's when you're going to see motion blur.
And it looks pretty cool because you get that effect. I think Ron, you spoke about it in one of your videos on your last live stream. I think it was when you're low to the ground, you have that motion blur. You can be going 20 miles per hour, but it looks like you're going 100 miles per hour.
Yeah. Again, I know a lot of people. DeMarco did not want to get the Avata 2 because it didn't go as fast as his Potato. But I was trying to explain to him, well, I mean, sure, the Potato can do 99 miles per hour, and that's great when you're up a couple hundred feet. But when you're 20 feet or under, the Avata 2 looks like it's going 99 miles per hour.
Yeah. And you don't want to go that fast anyway on the Avata 2 at low altitude through gaps and stuff.
Right.
Unless you're like racing.
Right. One of the quick things.
Leo.
One of the quick things before I let you go. Now I was talking to our good friend Mikey, aka Philly Drone Life, and his concern was he talked to a few people. He doesn't think the frame is as sturdy on the Avata 2 as the Avata 1. He thinks that's a much sturdier frame and can take the impact of a crash better than the 2. That the 2, if you do hit something at a fairly high speed, you're going to do more damage to it. Do you see anything to that at all? And that's just Philly was just getting that from other people. He doesn't have it himself yet. So
that the frame on the 2 is more fragile than the 1?
Than the plastic is not as solid as the plastic on the first version.
I wouldn't say. I mean, feels.
I think so. I think it's more fragile. In fact, you might see a video from one of your favorite influencers, but they busted up Avata 2 soon.
Oh no!
Does his initials rhyme with Burger King?
I don't know. I can't say.
He's under NDA.
I'm on the NDA, but yeah, I think it's definitely more fragile. And then if you look at it, right, the whole the ducts is connected to the main body of the drone, so you can't.
Oh yeah,
you can't replace it as easy as the Avata 1.
Yeah, that whole top body is gonna have to
think about it. The Avata 1, DJI sells the whoops separately on the website where you can buy it and replace it yourself. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna do it on this. I don't see how it's possible.
I'm looking at this though, Eddie. I bet it'd be fairly easy to. I realize it's the whole thing, but there's just a couple of screws. I wonder if Well, I don't know. I've never taken.
But it's all the arms. I mean, every duct is all one. Yeah, it's one.
Yeah, but if you take all those front screws and the side screws, and I wonder if you could just pull that top off, put another one back, and screw it back. I don't know.
But
just don't crash it. Don't crash it.
Or wait a minute. Or send it to Joe Fotoleo. If anybody can fix it, Joe can.
That's it.
Yeah, and refresh is so cheap on this drone though that I recommend buying refresh.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now,
do it right when you activate the drone.
They reduced the cost of refresh, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
That's 2 years.
Yeah, it's like almost a no-brainer.
So what you're saying, is Johnny is wise to get those bumper guards from Ken for that drone.
Yeah, so that's fancy. What is that?
My wife loves me. She just brought me some cake. Yeah,
cake, not like a little cake. Well, anyhow, folks, it's almost 10:30 in New York City. I'm sure Eddie's got to get up to work tomorrow morning.
Unfortunately,
work.
Unfortunately,
so
yes.
so I want to thank Eddie so much for coming on tonight. We've been looking forward to getting on these great devices. He has both of them. So when you've had a little more time in your hands with both of these devices, would you come back and give us kind of a long-term review when you get some real hands-on time with them?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Always love being on this panel.
And this is real long-term, Eddie, but when we were in Florida, Billy and I were talking about maybe in the fall doing a little Jersey Shore kind of meetup, maybe where we hit a couple different lighthouses and wind up at the Cape May Lighthouse for sunset. There's no better place in South Jersey for sunsets than the Cape May because you're looking right over the river and everything down there, the ocean and the river. So keep us in mind.
Absolutely.
Ron, can people from Idaho get in on that?
Well, you were right there when this conversation was brewing in Tanya Gale or whatever. So but what we learned in Florida, Eddie, is I don't think we want to turn this into a large group of people get you thrown out of places or whatever.
That's true.
You want kind of a limited number group, because if you get a whole bunch of people marching in with a bunch of big hard cases and whatever, you draw the attention of security people and people in charge. So this probably can't become the size of the South Florida drone meetup or anything.
Yeah. No, and actually I prefer smaller groups. Like lately, that's what I do, is fly in smaller groups. When it's a large group, I don't even pull out my drone, because sometimes you have new pilots that are learning, and hey, like give them the airspace, let them enjoy it. We fly all the time. Yeah. But it's also like, like thinking about like the Avata, someone plugs in, you still get like that little breakup initially. Like it's too risky for me. Like I just rather have a smaller group, like 3-4 people tops, and you just all enjoy, versus having a very large group where you might not be able to fly. But the large groups are also good because you get to like, just chat and have a good old time. I'm sure like what you guys did at the drone meetup.
Yeah. I mean, I think I found like if you 10 people and under probably works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever, because you could take, not everybody has to fly at the same time. Like 4 or 5 can go up, and and then they come down, and the other 4 or 5 guys go up or whatever. Something like that. But anyhow,
hey Johnny, I guess that means we're out.
Well, Marcus, you were there. You were there when it was happening, Johnny. You could have been there, but instead of riding home with Tanya. I think Johnny may be a little afraid of Tanya's driving that night. He rode home with who'd you ride home with that night?
I don't know who did.
Yeah, but we had a hard time getting a parking spot that night. But anyhow,
well, Billy got a prime spot.
Yeah, Billy.
He did.
We watched him,
and then he stayed around for a minute or two after the show. Got a little story to tell you.
All right.
So, any other questions for Eddie before we get out of here? Johnny, Marcus?
We better shut this down, Ron.
We better shut it down. Okay. Yeah. I want to thank everybody who joined us in the chat tonight. Great questions, great comments out there. You guys support us so well. Don't forget to go over to Eddie's channel and watch his. He's got 2 videos you need to see right away. You need to see his X4 video that I previewed today, and his Avata 2 kind of unboxing and first look over his channel. His channel is real easy to find. Eddie Nunez. Is nothing tricky about the name. I like those simple names or whatever. And don't forget to Fly for Fun this week on the Fly for Fun YouTube channel. And Johnny also does Drone and Coffees every Sunday. And he pops up with a drone and coffee when I'm not even looking sometimes or whatever, you know. And Marcus, I'm sure you've got some content coming out this week. You've been flying the new Avata 2 a lot.
Oh no! This video is ready.
Oh yeah, he's got a big video. Forget the Avata 2. He's got a big video to drop. So and I actually got a video up to date, folks, of the Brightline trade in Florida. Eddie, have you ever heard about the Brightline trade and it goes from Orlando to Miami? Well, luckily Lauren Donner took us to a secret location. Marcus was there the night before, and we got some real nice footage on a Monday morning after the meetup of the Brightline train. So I got that video up just today, so check it out.
One more word. Don't forget Captain Ray's show on Thursday evenings.
Oh yeah, Captain, and we don't know who he's got on this week. And we're back next week. And guess what? We got a big name. We got another big name guest coming on next Monday. Guess who it is? He hasn't been on the show in a long time.
Oh, then it's not Johnny.
Original Dobo.
Even bigger. No, I'm just kidding.
Ryan Singleton.
I'm just kidding. I had to,
John Coopy.
Well, we're working with John Coopy, but we're negotiating real hard with him. No, our good friend Sean Oz out there in the Rocky Mountains. Sean,
he did a nice video,
and I believe he made a couple of collaboration videos with Ken. And also, if you see Tom Dowling and Bob Dempsey are lurking in the background of those videos too. So that was quite a little mini mute, but at an abandoned water park. So a lot coming up.
That was a great video.
Pay attention, sub the channels, ring the bells, give the thumbs up. Let's support the community. Let's make this the summer of drones. Let's make this the best summer of drones ever. So good night.
I'm all in.
And good night from the East Coast. Good night from Louisiana, and good night from Boise, Idaho.
Idaho.